Oh dear.
Hello and welcome to the Q&A for October, and we are looking at everything to do with Canva, of course, but also websites. So I've got the lovely Paul Drake from White Star, my colleague there. I've put the thing there, my dual branded background, because for those that don't know, I also work at White Star. My main thing, I suppose, is Lovely Evolution. I've been doing that for longer, but a year ago we officially joined forces, Paul and I, and it makes sense to have him on as a guest expert. So I'm going to put us into gallery view.
You put somebody else on as a website expert.
Yeah, I could have had John Scott or a few others. There's a few in the business community. Yeah. Okay, so I just thought I'd put it out there and see if anyone's got any particular questions to make sure that we can cover them first. But I do also have a little bit of training or demo to show you how you can use Canva within your existing website to snazz it up. But has anyone who's on this session got a question about Canva or websites in general?
Yeah, I've got one that Paul might be able to answer. It's like there's a number of different platforms out there. There's like Wix, WordPress, Drupal, and loads of others. Yeah. How do you choose which platform to build your website on? What are the sort of like criteria that you need to consider when you start to look at putting a website together?
Okay, it's a tricky one. I guess at the end of the day, it comes down mostly to budget to start with. If you've got no budget, then Wix is okay. It's not wonderful. It's a drag and drop editor. For those who don't know, it's a free drag and drop editor. So it's pretty straightforward to use. It's very easy to build rubbish websites with it. It's also reasonably easy to build not bad websites with it. The code he produces at the back isn't particularly friendly, so Google doesn't like it very much. That's not so much the case as it used to be, but it used to be horrible. Google, you should look at it and run away laughing, but it's much better now. If you're not after a free one or something really, really cheap, then if you want to do it yourself and you want to learn how to do it yourself, then WordPress is a reasonable option because it's not too bad. Again, it's very easy to build a very bad website in WordPress. I've seen lots of people who charge money for very bad WordPress websites. So,
yep.
Ideally, you should go and get a professional to do it, and I would say that, wouldn't I? But what you don't know about building websites is how people read websites, how it should look, all the things that you can make a website that looks pretty, but if it's not the way people read it, or if it doesn't engage the way it should do, then it won't help you. So a professional web designer should know that sort of stuff and should make sure that your website is set up correctly, it works properly on mobiles, and it's performs well, doesn't take an age to load, all these things that
and also security is a big thing, because WordPress being a very popular resource for creating websites means, and there's lots of plugins and lots of things that you can add to your website that may have security breaches, and if you don't know how to bundle it all up and make sure that it's secure, it can open up your website to being hacked and all sorts of horrible things like that.
I saw this morning that I read that Donald Trump's WordPress website was hacked. His campaign website had been hacked overnight, and people have been putting stuff.
So it's now full of crap, and no one noticed the difference.
It's improvement, to be honest. But
yeah, I would say so.
The other one you mentioned, Paul, was Drupal, which used to be my baby. I do WordPress as well now, but Drupal is where I grew up. Drupal is like WordPress, but it's got much more security around it. In fact, talking of the US president, Barack Obama picked it for the White House website. So that's, it shows how much more secure it is. That's not what you want to learn yourself, because you've got a really steep learning curve. It's quite technical, but it does give you lots and lots of flexibility. If you want lots of features and stuff, then it's very good for that sort of thing. If you want something that does so much like a system, then it's brilliant. But WordPress is as good as any, as long as it's done properly. So.
And it's also how much time you want to invest in learning something like that, and how involved you want to be in creating it and stuff. Some people love all of that and have a natural affinity to do so, and so for them, go for it. But if you're not very tech savvy, you would be better off investing that money in getting someone else who is a professional at it to do it for you, than spending hours and hours and getting lost and frustrated and then having something that's either half-assed at best or just downright rubbish. And the other thing with
and so people always underestimate the amount of time it's going to take to do Wix, and so I'll just knock it together in Wix. It's ever so easy, drag and drop by, and they said, well, it took me 3 weeks to do that. You think, well, that's 3 weeks of your time you spent not doing your business. How much is that worth to you?
Yeah, or you're working it in, you know, working long hours, doing it in your kind of your free time, as it were. The other thing is as well, with working with a developer, is that in the right hands, they would make sure that the back end is set up so that you as the user, it's easy to use. You're not going to break the website by clicking on something, you know, that you're inexperienced. So it will depend. So if you are going out and commissioning someone to do a website, ask about how have you got access to be able to update the content and website and add pages yourself, and what is the usability of that back end. That's been a big benefit of you know, with Paul working with Drupal, is that what's it called, tasty back end.
You definitely need someone to look after your back end, don't you?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you've got a tasty back end, you need to show it off. That's what I've always said.
There we go. In the days of Kardashians, it's all about the back end, isn't it?
Oh,
Has anyone else got any sort of questions at this moment in time?
I actually did have one. So how would you sort of build up backlinks organically on your website?
The easiest way I'd say is to come to us and we'll sort it out for you. The other way, if you go, there's lots and lots of local free directories and stuff you can get attached to, which are quite helpful. All kinds of things like the Sun newspaper, but you know, it's backlinked to a relatively prestigious, and that's not the right word, no, it's not prestigious, you know, a well-renowned website. It's a genuine website. All kinds of local directories, Yale. Just don't, please, whatever you do, no matter what you decide to go, don't go with the Yale website. Ever. Ever. They are renowned in the business as being the absolute worst. They are horrible people to deal with. They will chase you, and they will, you know, bend you, twist your arms to find packages that you really don't need. And the websites they produce are shocking. So,
I mean, on the kind of subject of directories, if again, with the not wanting to, if you don't have time to be contacting all these like free directories for these backlinks, what you could do is outsource to a VA. We've got one here, Leanne Bailey Woodward is on the call. But like, you know, sort of, if you know a VA that you can work with and does kind of admin type work, why not, you know, have them, you know, do that for you, because it will probably be quite boring work that you don't necessarily need to do, but that could be one way of doing it.
Are backlinks still that important, Paul?
Yes, they are. To reputable sites, they are absolutely. Yeah, they will help your SEO completely. Everything helps. I mean, even if it helps a little bit, that little bit might be the bit difference between page 2 and page 1. You know, it might be that one spell. The other thing, Kirsty, as well, if you blog a lot, get your blogs on other people's websites. Get them on there.
Okay, so guest blogging.
Guest blogging is very good.
And that's good for not only the linking thing, but raising your profile, it's sharing your expertise. So it's a double whammy with that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if you can get guest blogs onto your website from reputable people, then they will link to your website as well. So, you know, it's all extra, basically. Excuse me. So,
yeah. Anyone else got any questions? We've got Kaz who's just joined as well. Hi, Kaz.
Another one.
Sorry, go on.
Okay, well, we'll go with Paul Green and then we'll come back to you, Kirsty.
That's fine.
Age before beauty, Kirsty. So AMP websites, accelerated mobile pages, that stands for. I don't understand it. Is that a platform you build a website on, or is it something that you can add to a WordPress website or a Joomla website or something like that? How does that AMP actually work?
It's not something I've had experience with, but I've come across it. It's basically a way of enhancing your website to produce images and stuff quickly, and in a certain way. It was a big fad for a while. I don't know how much traction it gained in the end. It's still about. I don't know of anybody who's done it. So it could be a specialist thing, or it could be something that was just a fad for a while that's gone away, or it's not really taken off like it should have done. But
there is another BuzzCon member pushing that particularly at the moment.
Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Simon Langham.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So
I guess there are other ways that you can improve the speed of your website through, not uploading the most massive file, images and stuff like that. So there's sort of kind of common sense stuff like that, isn't there, Paul?
Yeah. I mean, reducing the size of your images is really important. Making your page as fast as possible is important. AMP is a different thing. AMP is also around adverts as well, if I'm not mistaken, as well, getting adverts in there. But like I say, it's not something I've had anything to do with. It wasn't. I looked at it briefly when it came out and thought, no, I don't think I know anybody who's going to want to use that. So,
well, Paul Green, if you could message me the link privately, I can attach the information about that with the video if people want to know more about what it is. Okay, right. What I'm going to do is share my. Oh yes, Curtie had another question. We'll go with Curtie, and then I'll share.
No worries. So it was actually a Canva question, so maybe it might be useful for you to share your screen.
Cool.
But basically what I was thinking was to potentially do a webinar, but in a Canva presentation style, but with me as the kind of like the video within the screen, if you get what I mean. So I'd sort of have, let's say I'm using my Zoom background as an example. So I would be talking, and then my slide would be where my brand is at the moment, if you get what I mean. Would you be able to do like a live streaming of
the other way? This is sorry. Do you want me to come answer on it, or do you want to?
Yes, for some reason I'm confused.
Sorry, maybe I'm not asking.
You've broken my brain. Yeah, go for it, Paul.
Recorded webinar or a live webinar?
So it's sort of both, really. So what I'd sort of like information on both sort of options.
Well, I mean, it's a silly question really, Mike, because it's the same for both. What I've seen people do, and they've done it with PowerPoint, but it works just the same with a presentation on Canva. If you record it using Zoom, even if you want to record it yourself, you just set up a Zoom meeting on your own, share your screen, and then you appear in the top right-hand corner as a little image, so people can see you, and then you can see the images. Julie Futcher's done that with all her online courses, and it works really, really well because it feels like you're not detached like you would be just a presentation. You can see her, and it's like she's in the room and you're looking at the board, and it works out well. So that's how we recommend we do it for people to do it.
But you're right that you can use Canva to not only do the presentation, so you've got your slides within there, but you can also record the presentation. I actually did some training in the lovely Canva Club on it, and there were some drawbacks of using the Canva's sort of recording a presentation. One was that you can't download that particular video, so you can only link it, so you can share it about on social media, but you wouldn't be able to download that video of the complete presentation and you speaking into, say, like YouTube or whatever, but you would be able to share it with the link. The other thing was, as if you've got any videos within it, it wouldn't play. You can't seem to click on it. You can if you using Zoom to do your presentation. So it's a bit interesting that there were some weird quirks in it. I shared a post about it, I think last week. So I'll see if I can find the post and tag you into it. And it talks through some of the kind of the differences between the two. Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to quickly share my screen. I'm just sort of gone a bit croaky now. Okay, so I've got a couple of examples, oh dear, where I know people, myself included, have used a bit of Canva to sort of create the images. So this is a landing page that I've created in MailChimp. I've already shown Paul. You know, it's a case of getting it done and getting on with it. So I use MailChimp at the moment for my mailing list, and you can have a free landing page like this, and this is to launch my free 5-day workshop that's coming next week, so a little plug there. So yeah, so all of these bits have been created in some way in Canva. So this cluster of images here with the sort of screens with a kickoff thing and the ABC is done in Canva and with a transparent background because I've got the pro version. So I've been able to layer things up. That arrow is from Canva. I've done another Canva, you know, arrow there. And then this video I actually compiled within Canva. So that's quite useful to sort of have a little thing. So I've created this, you know, short video that I then upload into my YouTube and then put it in there. These little ABCs, again, I created them in Canva. So all these different things, you know, I've just used the building blocks of a, you know, editor. I mean, you could, you know, it could be whatever existing website editor that you've got. And then it just means that you've got a bit more things that you can pop into there. I recently did some branding for Lisa Sheppard, so I did a new logo, and she wanted to, so she built her website. I can't remember what system she uses, but she wanted to bring in the font, her brand font, into the header, which wasn't available on that website builder, and bring in some of the sort of gradients and stuff. So she chose to create those header images in Canva, and it works pretty well. And I'm not sure where else she might have used it, but I know for certain she's used it there. So it's a very nice way that you can quite easily kind of give a bit of visual impact with that. Let's see in the chat. Oh, thank you, Paul. You said you like the ABCDE acronym. Cool. Okay, so having sort of looked at this sort of example, I can show you sort of the bits as well, what I created. This is my little video show reel that I was very pleased about. So this is in effect like a slideshow. I mean, I used the video sizing, but I think it's pretty similar to the kind of more landscape presentation thing. I added music as well using the music function. And so this acts like a sort of video slideshow really, and I've got some bits of video that I've then inserted as well, so it's a mix of like a slideshow as it were with video to create that. And I also used some stock image there as well, which was just in Canva, which I thought was quite good. So I was very pleased with that. It took a lot of trial and error to get it how I wanted. I can see another thing in the chat. Oh, thank you, Curtis. The new logo looks great. So I'm presuming you talk about Lisa's. Yes, it was really pleased with how that came out. Okay, so has anyone got any questions about kind of what I was just showing you with the example of, you know, creating stuff that you can snazz up your website? Is anyone inspired to think, okay, let's see how we can introduce some of these sort of design elements quite easily? Stunned.
Yes,
yay.
I am.
So have you got an existing website that I can have a little look at and sort of
see? God, so mine is a Wix website.
Okay, what's your URL, Leanne?
So bwva
bwva.co.uk.
So how easy is it to design in Canva and then add to, say, a Wix website? Is that still possible?
Yeah, so like if you think about all the different elements which are within your site, so anywhere that you can update the image, you could put any image into it. So right. So for example, you know, this back image there is of a certain sort of width. Paul Drake, what's the kind of optimal size if you know that you're going to be doing a full width web image, like for your header? So for example, for here, if she wanted to replace that image, what sort of file size and pixels would you recommend for that?
Probably 1600 pixels wide minimum. I mean, you look at it on a 27-inch monitor, a wide one, and it's huge, but it'll expand hopefully if it's a decent format without pixelating too much. But yeah, no less than 1600, I think.
But Canva, like we were talking about, making sure that you're optimizing your images. So you could use Canva to do that optimization if you don't have access to something like Photoshop. So you would just, again, make sure that you work out what the sizes are of sort of some of the smaller images. So you've got some images here, for example. Maybe there's sort of
I think a few of these I got from Canva and just downloaded and uploaded.
Okay.
Things to remember are I've forgotten. First one is if you're using a big image, I don't know what Canva does in the way of optimization, but I'll put a link in the thing. But there's a thing called tiny PNG. It's a website. You basically drag an image onto it and it'll shrink it down without losing any quality, and it's brilliant. We use it all the time. If you use Photoshop, there's a download for a plugin for it, but I'll send you a link to it. It's
well, if you can upload any PNG file into it, then you could,
or a JPEG,
yeah,
it will convert to PNG.
Yeah, if you send me the link to that, I can make sure to add that as a resource, so to share that with the replay as well. So what's it? Tiny PNG.
Tiny PNG. It's free. I mean, the plugin for Photoshop is 50 quid, but I mean, you don't need that if you want it. It just means it's a bit more convenient. But if you're just doing it with Canva and stuff, you just pull out your image, save your image down, chuck it into there, and it shrinks it. And I mean, I can demo it if you want to see it. That's it.
Can do. We are running out of time, so maybe you could do record a little video using Zoom of just doing a little demo.
You can put a little video. There we go.
Yeah. Do a little how-to video. I think that would be good.
It almost doesn't need it because it's really, really straightforward.
Yeah,
it's almost idiot-proof. So
yes, but I think sometimes it's useful to have it, having it looked at. So yeah, so it's just a case of looking at your website and sort of seeing what you could, how you could customize that. So for example, picking a different image for the back. Just as a sort of aside, it's not really a Canva thing as such, but on your website, your logo, what I presume is your logo, is very, very tiny. So you've kind of got your text there, and then you've got the block. I'd probably just have it as this sort of peachy pink square and not have any little text, because it just looks a bit wrong like that.
Okay.
So it's still referencing your kind of logo, but it's not. It looks more deliberate, especially if you've picked a font there which is similar to what's in your logo font.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be chatting with you at a later stage about rebranding and a new logo, so hopefully that will change.
Excellent.
Another thing is when you're if you can scroll back at the top again to the top of the page, when you're doing a big header image like that, don't be tempted to put the text onto the image as well. Don't put the text on it, because if you do, Google can't read that, so it can't go towards your SEO.
If you are doing something like that, do it very sparingly because of that, and also because of how you're resizing it and stuff. So like on Lisa's, it works because it's just really her strap line there, or a strap line that's there, and it's not lots and lots of text, so I wouldn't put like bullet points there and stuff like that. But certainly you could add sort of custom tints and use your filters and stuff in Canva, and then uploading it into your website, and sort of making things sort of a bit more personalized. Any way you can personalize it, the better, in my opinion.
Okay, I need to do a lot then. Thank you.
I mean, the thing is, you're on, you're on a winner that you've got a website. You know, something is better than nothing. So although it's a Wix website, you know, it's what you do with it. It's just a tool. So I know Kaz, who's on the call, said that she's got a Wix website. Does anyone else want me to look at theirs? Kirsty, shall I have a little look at yours? Do you dare?
Yeah, actually, I don't mind. I'll cringe, but I don't mind. It's Kaslina's Therapies.co.uk. Kaslina's Therapies is one word. There you go.
Okay, so this is another Wix website. So yeah, so that so yeah, there's some things that could be improved here. So for example, like if within the template you could make that a bigger image. You could also style it up with by using tints and stuff, or a mix of filters and tints. So not just sticking that raw image in there. You could style it up with the purple.
That's why when you said about that, I thought that's fantastic, because all the images I've got, I mean, if you go over to my shop and you look at some of the stuff in there, like the hypnotherapy recordings, if you go to the
yep.
yeah,
like so all of those
are all just standard, but I'd love to have something a bit more bespoke to my product.
Yeah, so you could create some little things, a bit like my ABCs of doing something like that. So you could in that particular case, I think you could have put your text self-discipline and putting it on there, because you've already got, from a searchability point of view, you've got it there in that as well. It's just if you have only got the text in a header and it's important text, you know, Google's not going to be able to see that because it's an image. You can also, of course, make the most of your tags for your images as well. Is it alt tags, I think it's called? So that can bring in, you know, if there's some particular text that you've popped onto your image. But yeah, be careful about adding text unless it's within a sort of fixed box and frame like that. So like Leanne, with yours, I wouldn't put any text in the back like that unless it was part of a sort of almost like the background. It was a style thing of like a was it one of those word cloud things? If it was something like that, that'd be a bit different, but I wouldn't do it on that one.
Okay, so just going down there, so I've done that quite a lot on so I've also done that down here with my services. Should I not do that as well?
Oh, what would you mean?
So like, because there's images behind the text here.
No, it's fine to have the text sat on top. What I mean is within Canva, don't put the text in there, like particularly large blocks, because Google won't be able to search it. So from the SEO point of view, and also when you start resizing things, things can go a little bit awry, particularly with like a big image like that in the back, a header image.
Okay,
Kirsty, let's go to you. What's your website?
So
before you do that,
Sorry, Paul?
Before you go on to that, can I just catch on with something you said earlier about alt tags?
Yes.
For those who don't know, alt tags are basically some text you can put in behind an image. It's sort of useful for SEO, so it's nice to put keywords in there. What it's really important for is if somebody's using a screen reader to look at your website, then they're visually impaired.
So it's all about the accessibility of your website.
About accessibility, and what it does when you see if you hear a screen reader, it gets the image. It says image, and then what's in the alt tag. So if you say image, and then my logo or something like that, it's not very useful. So you want to actually describe what's in there. So you could say just scroll up a tiny bit where you have ML or down or whatever.
Yeah.
Where you scroll, you've moved now. It's confusing, haven't you?
Well, I was getting ahead to. To looking at Curtis quickly, because
if you've got images that are just there for just purely decorative, you could just put in the alt tag just a decorative image of a meeting, something like that. But if it's actually a really meaningful image, then you can put in a real description of what it is, and then the screen reader will see that, and then it'll help the listener to understand what they should be seeing. Yeah, and accessibility is becoming more and more important. I think every website in the US needs to be compliant now, and I suspect that will come to us within the next 5-10 years. So.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if there's some information on accessibility and tips on that, or maybe there's a blog post coming soon from Paul. A bit of homework for you. So we got Curtie's career inspiration website here. So there's lots of nice stuff here. How was this one built?
This was WordPress.
WordPress, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you've got your colours, which are sort of consistently used from what I can see. On your career journey thing, I would say that I'm not a big fan of the logo when it's within the white block. So maybe make the white block more deliberate, so bigger, or like it's a strip or within a circle or something. Just make it a bit more, not that it's just been plopped on and it's got the white background. Ideally,
yeah,
if you've
the thing
got
is, I actually I was playing around with this so much because I don't like it either.
Do you have a version of your logo where that you can have it sat on the white, having it white out onto a coloured background? Because that would give you a lot more flexibility, that you could have it, you know, white out on that orange, and that would look quite sexy. In my opinion.
I might actually speak to my logo designer actually and see whether he can do a little version. Thank you.
Bit of homework for you. So yeah, so you could, you know, I mean, you're already using sort of the kind of grayscale images. Just be careful here that the visibility, like the contrast between the text and, you know, the background is not, it's, you know, because it's the scrolly thing, I can't remember the technical term for it, when it's over the maze bit, you can't really read it. So just always being, you know, keeping it in mind how easy it is to read, because it's not just like how does it look design wise, it's about making it functional. Paul Green asked Curtie, who did your logo?
Someone called Adam Alexander.
Okay.
So someone who I met way back in May, June time, before the lovely Marie Louise.
There are other designers out there.
I know.
We got some videos. So again, you know,
which I need to do thumbnails for that. Sorry.
Okay, so is that why it's showing like that? So this is another way that making sure that, you know, Canva, you can create your thumbnails there. There is YouTube thumbnail templates as well, so you can easily do that. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's a nice site. You know, it's just a case of you could create those images using Canva if you wanted to.
Yeah.
There's some scrolly thing is my kind of tech speak. Yes, Kaz. Okay, right, I'm gonna stop sharing, and we've got less than a minute and I'm too cheap to upgrade to Pro Zoom, so I will wrap it up there so you can all get on with your the rest of your day. Thank you so much for those coming live. I really appreciate it. You know, welcome to a couple of new faces, or those that haven't been for a while. And for those that have been on watching this on replay, out of interest, if you could put like #replay or comment replay, it'd be interesting to see sort of how many people are actually watching this and what's been your biggest takeaway from this. So that's it. I'll finish burbling now. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Well burbled.
Next week. Sorry?
Well burbled.
Well burbled. Burble.
See you later. Bye.
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 Bye-bye. Thank you.